Are you willing to die for your faith? The story of Charlie Kirk. My name's Carly Dill, and this is the Rooted Real podcast. We just witnessed a man become a martyr in 2025 in America. I'm 23, and to anyone watching who's about this age, maybe you're older, maybe you're younger, but this might be the first time you've ever experienced someone in your lifetime that you followed and that you potentially knew die for the sake of their faith and for what they believed in. He was a civilian. He was not a politician. He was a person like me and like you. He did not hold a position of office. He was a man on a mission who was passionate about the gospel, about America, and about preserving the values he believed this country was founded on. It feels crazy to me that a person like us died for his beliefs. I think an important distinction here is a martyr is anyone who dies for either their faith or their belief system. It does not have to be a religion, but it can be, but it's any belief system. I've seen a lot of discourse online, and some people are saying Charlie Kirk is not a martyr, and that would be false. That would be an incorrect statement. He is a martyr, and he did die for what he believed in. Do we know the motive of the shooter? Not yet, but I think it is fair to say that his faith played a huge part in his journey, if not the sole element of what he believed and what he fought for. I did not know Charlie Kirk personally. I did not have the privilege, and I honestly became more conservative in the past 2 years, and it's been a journey I've been walking through, and something that I really didn't know who he was until pretty recently. But today I didn't know Charlie, probably like most of you. There's, come out so many people that did know him and have amazing stories. But this is for everyone else. This is for the me and the you and the friend of yours that did not know him and did not meet him, but has still felt an overwhelming sense of sadness, frustration, and anger. I did not know Charlie Kirk. Like most of you, probably we did not have the privilege to meet him. And this is for the person that maybe did not know him, and maybe you just found out about him, and maybe you didn't like him, but now you're coming to terms and you're asking these questions. This is for you, and this is for us to sit and ask questions and be okay not being okay and not understanding. And if you're like me, I have felt so sad. I did not know Charlie Kirk, and yet I feel like I have lost a friend. And if you feel this way, if you empathize with that, if you relate to that, you are not alone. You are not crazy. I am sitting here in Paris, France, where nobody is talking about Charlie Kirk. And sometimes it has felt like I'm going crazy, like I'm being dramatic, and the reality is we're not. This is serious, this is important, and this should be talked about. But today I'm not here to talk about just Charlie Kirk because I did not know him, but I know that he will change the course of not only America, but I hope that he will change the course of people's faith forever, and that people will continue to come to know Jesus and pursue Jesus through his story. So today, I want to read a passage that in the past few days, I have been reading all about the martyrs in the Bible and the people that died for their faith. And there's so many not mentioned. There's so many after the Bible times, and there's so many people that go to foreign countries where it's illegal and die every single day for their faith, and we don't know their names. But in this instance, this does feel important, and there are some people in the Bible who are mentioned, and I think we can be encouraged by them. I read this with new eyes after this week. It's in Acts 7 verse 54. The stoning of Stephen. Now when they heard these things, they were enraged, and they ground their teeth at him. But he, full of the Holy Spirit, gazed into heaven and saw the glory of God and Jesus standing at the right hand of God. And he said, Behold, I see the heavens opened and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God. But they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and rushed together at him. And they cast him out of the city. They cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witness laid down their garments at the feet of a young man named Saul. And as they were stoning Stephen, he called out, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. And falling to his knees, he cried out with a loud voice, Lord, do not hold this sin against them. And when he said this, he fell asleep. Stephen is known to be one of the first martyrs of the faith that is recorded. It says in verse 56, and he said, Behold, I see the heavens opened and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God. And I would love to believe that Charlie had a moment like this, where as he died, he saw Jesus waiting for him. And that is a moment that we should all yearn for. So you're probably saying, yes, Carly, I understand. Stephen, Charlie, I get it. He's a martyr. Okay, what now? Why are we listening to this podcast? This is about you. This is about our generation. This is about every single person who walks away from this week and what we do about it. Because good, bad, ugly things happen every single day. And this one does seem to be bigger than most. But we have a decision. You have a decision. I have a decision. We have a decision to move forward and to choose boldness, to choose to be bold in our faith. And I am someone who is guilty of not always doing this and for taking the easy route. And I really believe that this is the time we have to choose. I'll never forget when I gave my life to Jesus 6 years ago, and I was going to college. I had been following Jesus for 4 months, and I knew in that moment I had a choice. I could go to college and continue in my sin and be 1 foot in, 1 foot out and walk with the world, or I could go all in with Jesus. And I was still imperfect and I still made so many mistakes, but that year I decided I'm gonna go to college and go all in with Jesus. And I found a local church. I got in a life group that fundamentally changed my life. I started listening to podcasts and sermons, and people like Jonathan Pokluda changed my life and have made me who I am today. And it's the friends that discipled me, Zoe Klein, Neha Badawala, Kate Cruz. It's the girls that sat with me and cried with me and loved me and showed me more of Jesus. And that was a decision and a choice. And I want everyone who hears this to know that you have a choice, you have a decision, and it's not just a decision for today while it's trendy and it's cool. It's a decision for the rest of your life. And the question is, are you willing to die for your faith? And it's the question I have been asking myself all week long. And I think, when we think of dying for your faith or being willing to sacrifice for the sake of the gospel, I at least think, okay, well, if the government takes over and we, Christians can't have Bibles, like I'm going to be the one to stand up and die for my faith. And I'm willing to hold firm in Jesus if that happens. Or if I was in another country and they told me to renounce Jesus, I wouldn't, But I don't think that is what it means for today. I don't think we actually have a fundamental understanding of what it means to die for your faith. Yes, does it mean you are willing to lay down your life if the time came? Yes, it does mean that. But we are called to pick up our cross daily and follow Jesus. And I have been convicted, and I'm speaking out on this because I have felt convicted that even though I want to be the first person to talk about how Jesus has changed my life and be the one to say, hey, I'm willing to die for my faith, there are so many ways I don't actively make that choice in my day-to-day life. And even when I try to, sometimes it's a half truth or it's in half boldness. And so the question I'm asking is, and I would encourage you to ask yourself is, are you willing to die for your faith? And if you say yes, how can we say that we are willing to die for our faith, die for the sake of the gospel, when we're not willing to share the gospel with our family? We are not willing to post a Bible verse on our Instagram story because we're afraid of what people are going to think. We're not willing to say no to doing drugs and having sex with your boyfriend before marriage because you don't want to be weird and you don't want to feel left out. How can we say, I'm willing to die for my faith, but I'm not willing to have a conversation and love people that are different than me? How can we say I'm willing to die for my faith, but I don't want to speak out on my thoughts on abortion and these big topics because I don't want to get canceled? And it's like, that feels very about me, and I am a victim of that. I am the first to raise my hand and say, I'm scared. I'm scared sitting here recording this episode. What are people going to think? What are they going to say about me? Who's going to unfollow me? Who's not going to like me anymore? What friends am I going to lose? What is going to happen next? But at the end of the day and at the end of this life, it does not matter. It does not matter. And at the end of this race, you and me, have to give an account to God and nobody else. Nobody else. And I don't want to be the reason that I have to look at Jesus and in the eye. I have to look at God in the eyes and say, Father, I'm sorry. I was half in and half out, and I just couldn't decide to go all in. And I think that would be my greatest fear. And even though on this side of eternity, in the land of the living, we stand here and we're like me, we're afraid of what people will think, we're afraid of what the world will think. But at the end of the day, we only report to one person, and he's going to look and hopefully say, well done, good and faithful servant. And that is what I truly, truly believe he told Charlie Kirk just a few days ago. And so with that, I wanted to take the time for us and anyone, but particularly this generation. We are the future. You are the future, and we have a decision. We have a choice. And if you want to make a choice to follow Jesus, if you don't, it's never too early. It's never too late. When you make the choice to follow Jesus, I cannot guarantee it's going to get easier. In fact, it doesn't get easier. It gets harder, because following Jesus is controversial. Being a Christian is controversial. Pursuing the way of God is controversial. Reading the Bible, believing the Bible, living like the Bible tells you to live is controversial. And if you make a decision and you decide, I'm going to follow Jesus, I'm going to lay down my life and follow you, I'm going to leave it all behind and follow Jesus, your life will look different. You will not be liked by everybody. You will face persecution, and that is the reality. And I don't say that to stray you away. I say that to tell you that we have something worth fighting for, and something that's worth it, because it really is worth it. If you're like me, this week you've probably been asking yourself, what do I say? What do I post? What do I not post? What is this person going to say? What if I lose followers? What is the world going to think? What are my parents going to think? What are my teachers going to think? And the reality is, it doesn't matter. That if you believe in Jesus, if you have made a decision to trust in Jesus, we have a responsibility to go into the world, make disciples, and share the gospel. And there is no reason, no excuse for us to not do that. And that looks different for everyone. That does not mean you have to be a missionary. That doesn't mean you have to go and move to Cambodia. I choose to do that through here. Some people choose to do it online. Some people choose to do it in their family. Some people choose to do it in their communities. There are so many ways that we can be faithful disciples of God, but we do not have an excuse to not share our faith openly, and to share the gift that we've been given with other people. And so that is where I've been convicted, and I do not have it all figured out. I do not know what this is going to mean for the future. I don't know what this looks like. And genuinely, I am here to just try and follow Jesus. I'm here to try and follow and understand what Jesus would have us do. And through reading the Bible and reading about all the people that have made the hard decisions to push the church forward, and that we are the generation. And somebody said, I can't remember who was the first to say, the church is one generation away from dying. And so it is our responsibility to push the church forward. This is our job as the next generation of believers, to push the church forward. And so, are you willing to die for your faith? The answer might be yes, but the answer might be no. And if the answer is no, that is okay. And I would ask yourself, why not? And ask yourself, what do you need to do? What do I need to do? What do we need to do to be willing to lay down our life for our faith? And Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice. Jesus laid down his life for his friends. Jesus went to the cross for you and for me. And he was the ultimate lamb. He died so that me and you and Charlie and every single person on this earth who makes a decision to follow Jesus will spend eternity with him in heaven. And it doesn't matter what sins you've committed. There's no sin too big or too small. It doesn't matter what you've said. It doesn't matter what you've done. That when you trust in Jesus, you will be saved. And that is the hope and the joy of the gospel. And so those are all my thoughts for your beautiful Saturday afternoon. If you this week, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, have felt sad or angry or frustrated, and you did not know him and you did not get the privilege to meet him on this side of eternity, you are not alone. You are not crazy, because in the kingdom of heaven, we are family. We are adopted into the kingdom of heaven and we become family. And we are all mourning the loss of a brother in the faith. And that is worth mourning. It is a mourning, and when anyone who is a part of this family dies, but especially dies for the sake of this family, it is emotional and it is hard, and you are not alone. And so we have to just keep on keeping on, and we have to just keep going and being the light that Jesus would want us to be. So that's all for this episode. You guys have a great day, and you're so loved by the God of the universe. So we'll see you next time on The Rooted Real. Bye, guys.